You're entering VTV's Chamber Zone. Your business community at work. Representing the Vernal area and Duchesne County Chambers of Commerce, here's Adam Massey and Irene Hansen.
Welcome to Chamber Zone, your business community at work. My co-host Alan Massey, as many of you know, we've been taking turns bringing in very special guests from our community. And on today's show, we're so happy. I'm so happy to have Tommy Winterton with me today from Fjor Films. Now, I'm going to let him say that correctly in just a minute. You know, the interesting thing, it's funny how history plays such a big part in all of our lives. You know, I don't know that you just start to get older and more reflective, or whether it's when you really love your community and you start to realize that without certain people doing certain things, whether it was 100 years ago or 50 years ago, we just wouldn't have what we have now. And the people who built everything from our electric companies to water systems, again, that stuff is amazing. Well, it's the same with families. And so again, you start to have a very tender place in your heart for history, and this year is Duchesne County Centennial, which you're going to hear about all year long. I'm sorry, I'm going to warn you right now, every segment's going to be about Duchesne County Centennial. So with me today, Tommy, I'll tell you, when you started telling me about this project and this company that you've started, it just got every part of me thinking and my brain swirling, because history and understanding and celebrating our families is just such an important part of who we are in the basin. So Tommy, I'm going to kick it off to you. You've got to tell me about this great team and this great product that you have.
Well, you know, I look at everything from even our country. You know, a lot of the mistakes are being made today are simply because we have not been educated on the history. And those that do not know history are doomed to repeat it.
That's right.
And then to take that further, you know, even with our families, this is something that's touched me a lot. I was privileged to grow up next to my great-grandfather.
Wow.
And, you know, he was around until I graduated high school. And I remember going over there as a kid and sitting on the swing on the front porch, and he was telling me stories of when he was growing up, and, you know, the reasons why I lived in Roosevelt, how they came to be out here, all the things that kind of put the pieces together of who I was and why I was here, and, you know, why I was in the basin. And but those were cherished memories. And this project really came about because, you know, even my oldest son is named after my great-grandfather. He was just my hero. And I got thinking... And
who was your great-grandfather?
Van Winterton.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, you know, I would give anything to be able to let my sons get to know my grandfather the way that I knew him. And, you know, we have written histories and journals and pictures and stuff, and that's great. But to be able to hear his voice and hear those stories, you know, I'd give anything. And that's really where this idea came out, is we wanted to give people that opportunity. And so I have some great business partners. We're spread across the nation. I have a business partner from Maine, and one from Tennessee, and actually 3 from Tennessee. We put together an amazing team. We have some original founders of Overstock.
Wow.
And Franklin Covey, and some great people that are very talented. And we have put together a company that does family documentaries. And so we go into people's homes and we capture those family documentaries, you know. And you know, depending on what study you want to look at, they say that what the words we actually say, or the written history, only portrays, you know, I've seen some studies that say as much as 7% of communication is words. The rest of our communication is through body language and tone of voice and our attitude and our personality. And so written histories are wonderful, but you can see they're only telling a small part of the story. So this has been fun to be able to go into people's homes and capture this, and the stories that we've heard, and the different family relationships we've seen come closer because of this has been great.
You know, and it's funny, sometimes, you know, you don't know you're special until you start telling a story and it touches a place in someone else's heart, or you had something happen to you, and maybe for the very first time you knew that that happened to another member of the family. So it's about sharing and about getting to know each other, but you literally have a treasure chest here of items that you put together for families. This sounds simple, but this isn't simple, because I'm sure you hear what I hear. Even when I'm trying to get someone to come on this show, the first thing they'll tell me is, what do I have to say? You know, I'm just so-and-so. I just own a business. I just do this. And it's only after they really, you know, that you have a chance to explain to them what's so special about their life. Now, we've only got a minute left in this half, but Tommy, open that up. Let's take a look at what that, and then we're going to use our next segment to talk about each piece. But open that up. I mean, it's literally a treasure chest of items that come to the families. I'm going to hold that up. Just, oh my goodness. So in our next 30 seconds or so, we're just going to talk a little bit about how's this presented. This is presented to the family once everything's done. How long does the process take to put something like this together?
From start to finish, on our side, it takes between 4 to 6 weeks to complete it.
Wow.
So it's a process on our end, but it's very easy for the individuals.
But it's not 4 or 6 years, and with that, we just have 1 or 2 seconds to go to our commercial break, but we'll be right back right after this.
Almost 45% of the oil produced in Utah, 7.8 million barrels, comes from Duchesne County. That oil feeds our state economy, provides job growth, and supports local business. Here in Duchesne County, we're working to make Utah an economic, cultural, and technological leader. Whether you're here for business or pleasure, Duchesne County will welcome you with open arms and invite you to explore all the beauty of the Uinta Mountains. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
Welcome back to Chamber Zone, your business community at work. I'm here with Tommy Winterton today, and Tommy, right before we went to break, we opened this beautiful treasure chest. Now we have a couple of minutes. You've got to tell me what's in this. What makes this such a special gift for a family to do?
Well, the real treasure is the documentary that is held inside of this. But you know, it's a process to go through. These documentaries are full length. They're all at least 45-minute documentaries.
Wow.
Just like what you'd see on the History Channel. They're professionally edited. Each documentary has its own musical score. We have a composer in Nashville. He's won several Grammys and one of the most well-respected music writers in the industry. If you saw his resume, you'd easily recognize a lot of the songs that he's written have been performed by famous people, but he writes the musical scores for each documentary. And so we have the musical scores, and they're professionally edited. So the treasure is the history that's held in it. But it didn't seem right that we would have such a valuable treasure and then just put it on a DVD and hand it to them. You know, it just, and especially my partner, who's very, very good at the creative side. You know, as we talked about as partners, it needed to come, the outside needed to somewhat represent was on the inside. And so as we put this together, the documentary, we transcribe it, and then also the photos. You know, when we go in someone's house, we not only film them, but we also digitize their family photos and their documents.
Wow.
And so those photos and then the transcription? Transcription of the documentary is held in this leather-bound book.
Wow.
And
looks like, just glancing, we've got, you know, pictures and all kinds of, wow, amazing.
So the whole transcript's in this book. So there's your written history.
Right.
And then in addition to that, the product comes on a DVD.
Right.
It's in this leather-bound case, and then it also comes on a USB as well.
Wow.
And then in addition to that, we have a DVD underneath this one that has the digitalized documents. You know, and that's one of the things when I've seen family members pass away, usually you have the family historian or whoever's into that takes and gets the journals and the documents and that.
Tries to scan them and get them to everybody.
Tries to scan them, but you know, there's a lot that I'm still trying to track down from my own family that I'd love to see, but they're not there. And so we make it very easy. It's all digitalized, so it's easy to email or share on social media.
Wow.
And so that, you know, you have a USB that has the family documents, and then you have the USB that has the documentary. A lot of the TVs now, you can just plug these in and play it right off of the USB. And what we were trying to do is create as many different formats as we could to play this. So you have the DVDs. In addition, we have a tablet that comes, and the entire documentary is loaded on the tablet.
Wow.
So, you know, if you're up camping, a family reunion or something, and you want to be able to pass around and see the documentary, it's on the tablet as well.
The other nice thing with that is you can actually take it to a rest home or assisted living and hand it right to your older family member and let them literally watch it right in their hands.
You know, it's a very mobile, easy way to view the documentary, and you know, it charges off a regular cell phone charger, so it just...
And you know, isn't it interesting, Tommy, that we're taking something that's really about history, but we're doing it in a modern way. I mean, we're using the latest technology to capture that history in those moments. But you know, naturally, I'm always thinking. And so as soon as Tommy told me about his new business, I started thinking about, this is Duchesne County's birthday. And so I wonder if he's ever thought about capturing a county's history. And you know, I said, Tommy, I don't have the slightest idea. I'm actually transplant to Duchesne County, but I love our county so much, and I knew we needed something special. But and so I came and said, what about a county? Have you ever thought about doing that? Of course, your answer is, we'll look into anything. So tell us about that project, Tommy, that you're working on right now for Duchesne County.
Yeah, we're really excited about this being the centennial year. We have a corporate side of our company as well. Fjor Films, we focus on the family, but we do have a corporate side, and we'd had that set up when you came to me, and you know, I thought, well, really, it's not any different than telling the story of an individual. We're just telling the story of a county. We found that it's you know, you have 100 years of history, and each community has its own individual and distinct history for that area and the families that were there, and each one has its own flavor. And so I know that the individuals that we have in our company that are working on this have just had a ball traveling around the county and capturing those stories and getting a feel for each community and what makes them unique and special, and then trying to tell it in a story that captures the county as a whole. So it's been a fun challenge.
Well, and what we're excited about is we're gonna try and roll this out at each community event. So starting with Mighton Days, the end of June, and again, it may be tweaked a little bit again, but of course our finale is at the county fair. That's when we'll have it completely done, but we are wanting to have a very nice version ready for Mighton Days. Your team has been amazing. It's been fun. They've been even talking about folklore and ghost stories and all kinds of things. Every county has those kinds of things. But Tommy, you know, it's interesting because in so many ways the opportunities in America right now, because of technology, we are able to tell stories, to capture things, to do things that really were unthought of. You know, we just lost my mother-in-law, and I wish I would give anything if we would have done something like this. And Tommy, I have to sign out right now, but thank you for joining us here on Chamber Zone. I'm Irene Hansen, and be sure to like us on Facebook for updates on VTV programming, and we'll see you next time.